Hello. Hmm.
So just a heads up, Jackie, the other MindSpark Learning account for the YouTube live stuff isn't working, so Mike had to work with it on the back end with his kind of admin account.
Okay, I see that it's live now though, so that's good.
Yep.
Hopefully we'll get that figured out for future things.
There's supposed to be a big update on Friday, so hopefully that'll help.
Okay, thanks Davis, I appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. But thanks, Mike, really.
Yeah, thanks Mike, if he could be here, but he's not.
He is. He's in our Zoom right now, actually.
Oh, is he? Thanks Mike.
Jackie, do you want me to let people in?
Yeah, that'll be good. Go ahead, thanks. Hi, welcome to IBM AI Education powered by MindSpark Learning. Today we're going to learn about AI and your curriculum, the perfect marriage. So we're going to be exploring different things about careers in artificial intelligence and employability skills for students and how we are harnessing those within our teaching.
Hello, teachers. Welcome. From digital assistants to self-driving cars, the potential impact of artificial intelligence, AI, on our daily lives seems limitless. If you imagine a world where humans and robots work together, what would that look like for your students? Working with experts from IBM and MindSpark, we created an educational series to help you talk to kids about the modern applications of AI, robotics, and the importance of ethics and bias in designing artificially intelligent systems. Bring your students to the forefront of this exciting new era. Enjoy the session.
Thank you for joining us here today. A little background information about IBM and AI education powered by MindSpark Learning. IBM is a leader in artificial intelligence around the globe. MindSpark Learning is a leader in professional development, and we've joined forces to bring these immersive and interactive online courses for you to learn two, four, five, six. There's 6 of these online institutes, actually 7. That one will be ready this Friday, actually. But by this Friday, there'll be 7 of these online institutes available for you to do in a self-paced version. That's what that on-demand means. It means that you can go to Teachable, which is how you logged into this course, and you can access these in a self-paced, on-demand recorded version. And we'll still be doing some of these live as well. The cool thing about these online institutes is that after each one, you get a 90-minute PD certificate that you can use for your educator recertification. If you do all 9 of these, that's 13 and a half hours you can use towards your license. As well as if you do all 9 of these, you get to take a quiz by IBM and MindSpark Learning. And if you pass that quiz with 70% or greater, you will be awarded an IBM AI education badge, which is super cool. So I highly recommend checking out some of our other content. A quick disclaimer about this online institute is we've designed this to give you the knowledge and confidence to bring artificial intelligence education to your students, your educators, your stakeholders, any network that you see fit. Not every activity will work for your classroom. We know that in education, we know a lot of times we have to make things developmentally appropriate for our students' skill set and knowledge, or make it a little more advanced, or make it scaffold in a little background learning for our students if they're not quite ready for that material. So it's the same with this. We are exposing you to this AI education, and please just keep in mind, use this, modify it for your students or the stakeholders that you wish to bring it back to, and expand and share what you learn here today with others. by the end of our online institute, we have 4 outcomes. The first one is you're going to have an understanding of how the workforce is changing and the skills students need to be successful in the future. And we're going to take a look at that here in just a minute. You're going to start a machine learning project. You won't get to finish it because it takes more time than what we have today, but you will be able to start a machine learning project, which is a great activity to do with your students in the K through 12 classroom. You're going to get an extensive toolkit, and if you've taken some of these before, hopefully you already have that toolkit bookmarked, but I'll show you where to access that toolkit here in a little bit as well. You're also going to be working on a graphic organizer to capture your thoughts and your learning throughout this event. So once we have that graphic organizer open later, keep it open because we'll come back to it. And this is really for you to refer to and refresh your memory about the activities we did and why we were doing those. There are 3 icons that you're going to see. You're going to see this toolkit icon. That means that this activity, the resource, the video is linked in the toolkit, so you have direct access to that exact same activity or resource we're showing you. The breakout room icon means that you're going to be joining in a breakout room with your peers and in thought partnership and collaboration. So I do request that when you are joining these breakout rooms, turn on your video so we can see you, turn on your microphone and interact. Like, we're all here to learn, and we appreciate any and all thoughts and questions and discussion and during those breakout room times. The key term icon means that we're just going over an important key term for the lesson. The key terms for today are going to be the future of work, employability skills, soft and behavioral skills. So these are going to be the 3 key terms that we are going to be going over throughout this lesson. There is support available. So we have people moderating. They're here to answer your questions. If you're having technical issues, use the chat. If you're participating on Zoom. So if you're participating on Zoom, we have support available for you. If you're participating on Teachable, you can send us an email. There is an email available on the Teachable website, so we can help troubleshoot any issues you're having. This is an example of the Zoom toolbar if you're not familiar with that. The chat icon's over to the right of the Zoom toolbar. If you can't see it, sometimes you have to click that arrow to expand the toolbar and you'll see chat up at the top. But keep that chat open because we're going to be posting links in there. We already posted the graphic organizer in there as well. If you want to go ahead and have that opened, you can, and I'll show you how to open that here in a little bit as well. But have the chat open if you're on Zoom so you can access these resources we're going to be doing today. For our first activity, we're going to be talking about the future of work. For this activity, you're going to need the MidtoMeter link. That link is in the Zoom chat if you are participating on Zoom. And if you're participating on Teachable, I'm going to show you where that link is before we move ahead with this activity. So here I am on Teachable. You're watching the video right here. If I scroll down below the video, you're going to see links for today's activities. This first link is MidtoMeter. You'll click on that, and it'll take you to our first question. So if you're participating on Teachable, you can go ahead and fill in your response to these questions here in just a moment. And if you're participating on Zoom, we're going to move into a breakout room for this activity. So when we're in a breakout room, I want you guys to have a fruitful discussion about what skills do you think students need to be successful in future careers. So discuss this for 3 minutes in your breakout room. And while you're discussing this, add responses to MidtoMeter. So as you're discussing things, you're like, man, that's a good one. I'm going to put that in my response on Minty. Go ahead and add it in there. And then we'll come back together and see what we've come up with. So let's head into those breakout rooms, and then I'll see you back here in 3 minutes. Okay, go ahead and join us back on that live streaming video or on the Zoom video. And if you just joined us, we are talking about what skills students need to be successful in future careers. So now that you've had a chance to discuss that, and let's look at our responses on Minta Meter. So Minta Meter is a great resource you can use for your classroom. You can do this for formative assessments for your students, check for understanding. There's so many applications, and this is a really fun way to gather and collect ideas in one spot. But you can see here, critical thinking is huge. Problem solving is pretty big. Communication and collaboration. Those are all the bigger ones I'm seeing, which means that many of you entered those. So that was one of the most popular responses. Critical thinking is the biggest. So that means many of you entered critical thinking as a skill you believe is necessary for students to be successful in future careers. I 100% agree. You can see also the bigger the word, the more people entered it. So the smaller the word, that means that you can see some words that are pretty tiny on here that maybe just 1 or 2 people entered some of those. But communication, collaboration, creativity, flexibility, adaptability, empathy, these are all really important skills. And what I really like about this is that many of you entered these soft skills. So these aren't necessarily some of the explicit academic knowledge and content we teach, but these are more of those soft skills that are necessary for students and for us to be successful. Thank you for participating in that Minta Meter activity. So as you have that discussion in the breakout room, I want you to think about these skills as we watch this short clip about the future of work.
There are a set of societal challenges that I'm actually not that worried about, and they're captured by images like this. This is not the kind of societal problem that I am concerned about. There's no shortage of dystopian visions about what happens when our machines become self-aware and they decide to rise up and coordinate attacks against us. I'm going to start worrying about those the day my computer becomes aware of my printer. So this is not the set of challenges we really need to worry about. To tell you the kinds of societal challenges that are going to come up in the new machine age, I want to tell a story about 2 stereotypical American workers. And to make them really stereotypical, let's make them both white guys. And the first one is a college-educated, professional, creative type, manager, engineer, doctor, lawyer, that kind of worker. We're going to call him Ted. He's at the top of the American middle class. His counterpart is not college educated and works as a laborer, works as a clerk, does low-level white-collar or blue-collar work in the economy. We're going to call that guy Bill. And if you go back about 50 years, Bill and Ted were leading remarkably similar lives. For example, in 1960, they were both very likely to have full-time jobs, working at least 40 hours a week. But as the social researcher Charles Murray has documented, as we started to automate the economy, in 1960 is just about when computers started to be used by businesses. As we started to progressively inject technology and automation and digital stuff into the economy, the fortunes of Bill and Ted diverged a lot. Over this time frame, Ted has continued to hold a full-time job. Bill hasn't. In many cases, Bill has left the economy entirely, and Ted very rarely has. Over time, Ted's marriage has stayed quite happy, Bill's hasn't. And Ted's kids have grown up in a 2-parent home, while Bill's absolutely have not over time. Other ways that Bill is dropping out of society, he's decreased his voting in presidential elections, and he started to go to prison a lot more often. So I cannot tell a happy story about these social trends, and they don't show any signs of reversing themselves. They're also true no matter which ethnic group or demographic group we look at, and they're actually getting so severe that they're in danger of overwhelming even the amazing progress we made with the civil rights movement.
So I hope you enjoyed that clip. That's why we're here today. We're really here to encourage you to expose your students to this type of knowledge, this artificial intelligence, computer science, and really get them to develop some of these really important soft skills to be contributors and to affect our culture and our societies, and make our life and their families' lives better. From the IBM chairman and president and CEO, he says that he expects AI to change 100% of jobs in the next 5 to 10 years. We do know that there's other statistics circulating out there. Just in the next 10 years, by 2030, AI is expected to contribute $13 trillion to the global economy around the world. So that doesn't matter where you're located. AI is going to impact economies all over the world. And we want our students to feel confident that if this is a field that they choose to go into, that they feel confident in doing so. And we know that that starts with the education system. That starts with exposing them at developmentally appropriate ages to content like computer science and artificial intelligence, like we do any other content like math, reading, social studies. So this is a visual of some of the employability skills from the IBM Institute for Global Business in 2018. You can see on the left, these skills are ranked from 2016, and on the right, they are ranked in 2018. And if you follow the line, you can see like in 2016, the ability to communicate effectively, or let me find another one. Willingness to be flexible and agile to adapt to change was the #1 skill in 2018 that employers are looking for. But in 2016, that was only #4 on the scale of important skills. And so you can see that there's #1 and 2 in 2016 are very technical skills, like basic computer and software application skills, where it was like the #1 skill in 2016. And in 2018, that's #8. So there's been a shift in soft skills and technical skills and what that demand is for the future of our workforce. A huge reason that is because the future is unpredictable. We are living in this digital age. Technology is driving everything. And so the ability to adapt and to be creative and innovate is a lot more valued over some of these technical skills, like knowing a foreign language or industry specific skills. Those are all on the bottom of this list that was produced in 2018. Another way to look at this is these employability skills with STEMnet's employability skills. There is a link to this on Teachable, and there's also a link to in the chat if you're viewing this on Zoom. But what's nice about this document is it ranks some of those skills as well, those soft skills we're talking about, the critical thinking, collaboration, ability to adapt and empathize. But it also gives you examples of lessons you can do with your students or ways that you can harness and foster this within your curriculum and what you're teaching. So this STEMnet application is a really good tool for us educators. So we can say, this is important. Here's some examples on how I can harness this within my students while I'm teaching content and curriculum that they need to know. One more example, these are the top 6 searched for skills from employers on LinkedIn. So these are the 6 essential soft skills, and these are what employers are asking questions about when they're doing interviews. They're asking questions around, are you a good culture fit? Are you adaptable, collaborative? Can you lead a group? Do you have growth and prioritization? Like, can you prioritize things, time management, those kinds of things. So 60% of managers said that they are screening for these soft skills, and it's very difficult because a lot of people have technical skills that they are wanting to advertise, but the most important soft skills that 60% of industries are looking for are these skills right here that we've talked about. So for the next 3 minutes, we are going to jump into our graphic organizer, and you're going to work on this independently. So there will be the link to the graphic organizers are posted in the chat. If you just joined, we're going to post those links in the chat again for you. There is a Google Doc version and then a Microsoft Word version of this graphic organizer. I'm going to show you how to access this, and then I'll explain what we're going to do and then turn you guys loose for a couple of minutes. If you are viewing this on Teachable, you will go down to link number 6 under the video, and you can see that there's the Google Doc and the Word version of the graphic organizer. Like I said, the same links will be posted in the Zoom chat if you're viewing this on Zoom. So if you're going to do the Google Doc, I just want to make sure everybody knows how to make a copy of this, for anybody that might not be familiar with making a copy of a document. So we do have these documents. I just need to change the setting for some, those settings have been changed. So these documents, you will need to make a copy of them to enter any response in them. So once you open it, if you're in Google Doc, go to File, go down to Make a Copy. And once you go to make a copy, you can rename it if you would like, but just click OK and it'll give you a brand new version of this document. Now you can edit it, type in your notes. If you are a Microsoft Word user, you'll just click on this Word doc. And once you do that, it'll populate. You'll click on the download button. And once that pops up, you can open that. It'll open in Microsoft Word for you. And then you can go ahead and type in some responses. And we're going to be looking for responses just for the key terms. So the future of work, employability skills, and soft and behavioral skills. So over the next 3 minutes, just jot down some ideas and definition of what these skills are, maybe why they're important. And if you can give any examples, go ahead and give those examples. So that way you have something concrete to refer to later when you're wanting to integrate this into your classroom. So let's take 3 minutes and focus on these key terms, and I'll see you back here in 3 minutes. go ahead and join us back on that Zoom screen. And if you're viewing this on Teachable, go ahead and join us back on the Teachable video. If you didn't get a chance to jot down all your ideas, you can definitely come back to this. We'll have another opportunity to work on the graphic organizer here in just a few minutes. So as we looked at some soft skills and behavioral skills, and we looked at these employability skills from 3 different resources, we gathered the top 7 or 8, the 8 skills that were repeated most in these documents and put them together on Minta Meter. So what I would like us to do over the next couple of minutes is we are going to go to Minta Meter, and I want you to think about this skill: adaptability, collaboration, leadership, so on and so forth through that list. And how well do you do this in your classroom? Rate yourself on that. These are completely anonymous. We don't know what anybody's putting there. So try to be as honest as possible. We just want to take a poll and see where is there room for improvement and what are we doing really well already in our classroom. So you can click on the link in the chat if you're participating on Zoom. That MidtoMeter link is there. I suggest leaving the MidtoMeter link open because we do come back to Minty a couple of times. And then if you're participating on Teachable, it's link number 1 under the video. So go ahead and head over to Minty, and I'm going to get us on the right page. Let me get us over there. And go ahead and enter your new, how you're ranking yourself. So let's go ahead and take the next 3 minutes and enter how do you rank yourself in these 8 areas. And then we'll come back and look at this in 3 minutes. go ahead and join us on the Zoom screen or on Teachable if you're viewing this on Teachable. And let's look at these results from entering and rating yourself on Minta Meter. So looking at our results, let's see, what do we have here? Problem solving is in the lead. So a lot of us know that we are really teaching problem solving skills with our students. Next, it looks like communication. We are teaching our students how to communicate. And then we have ethics and integrity and collaboration coming up under that as well. And then one of the areas it looks like we can improve in is adaptability, prioritization and time management, and innovation and creativity. So thank you for participating in that voting exercise. We're going to take this activity and we are going to move into a breakout room and discuss what is it that you ranked yourself that you did well. So maybe like the number 1 or 2 thing you can share, I know I do problem solving really well and communication really well, and this is how. I pull this out when I'm doing such and such, and explain and elaborate that a little bit with your group. And then also elaborate maybe on what you need help with. Like, thinking about it, this is an area I don't focus on, and that's something I'd like to improve. And let everybody in your breakout room have a chance to discuss this. If you're participating on Teachable, you're not going to be going into a breakout room, but what you can do is think about these questions and think about how you can improve and what you do really well and how you do it really well. And we're going to take 2 minutes to discuss and think about this. So if you're on Zoom, you're going to go into a breakout room, and then I will see you back here in 2 minutes. Go ahead and join us back on that Zoom video. And if you're on Teachable, go ahead and join us back on that live stream. I know, I hope you all had a chance to briefly share. We may not have gotten around to everybody. We do try to give you guys enough time, but since we do spend a short amount of time together, this 90 minutes, sometimes we can't give as much time as we would like for activities, but we can get you thinking and those thoughts flowing about some of this information. Next, we're going to listen to content area expert Dale Lane. This segment is about 15 minutes long. Dale is really amazing. He's been doing machine learning for kids at IBM. He goes around the world, works with educators, works with students in the K through 12 classrooms. Dale is an IBM developer, based in Hursley, United Kingdom, and he was awarded a 2018 IBM Volunteer Excellence Award for machine learning for kids. He's, I mean, like I said, he's really, really great, and he has a lot of experience in integrating this knowledge and content with students. So definitely listen to what he has to say and take some notes about some of the important things that you pick up on.
I've spent the last 4 years bringing AI into classrooms. I've been lucky enough to work with dozens of schools, and in the next 15 minutes, I'd like to share my experiences and what I feel works well. I'm going to focus on what I've seen work well and why I think that is. I'm not going to talk as much about how I did it, but the resources for all the lessons I'm going to talk about are freely available online, and I'll share links to where you can get them at the end. So all the lessons I'll be talking about are things that you could use as well. As an engineer, I like to learn by doing and by making. There's nothing quite like making something for myself and seeing it work. That's when it really makes sense to me. That's when it clicks. And I found that works well in the classroom too. I can explain principles of AI and machine learning to a class. I can explain the theory, but when I let them make their own AI projects, that's when they get fired up. When they train their own machine learning system and see how it behaves, see what it gets right and what it gets wrong, when they get a chance to improve its training and see how their system changes in response. For many of them, that's when the penny drops. It stops being abstract technical jargon then, it starts being something they understand. When I start working with a class, they often have this vision of AI being something in the future, something sci-fi. So I help the kids to make AI projects based on real-world applications of AI. For example, kids can make their own smart assistant, something like Amazon's Alexa or Apple's Siri, something that's able to understand the meaning of your command and take some action in response. So I'll get them to make their own Alexa. Now they'll only train it to recognize 3 or 4 different commands, but it will be able to understand loads of different ways of phrasing those commands, including some that they wouldn't have thought of. Now, doing that is enough for the idea to start making sense to them. Because suddenly the Alexa isn't this magic black box in the corner of the room. It's not magic, it's not the stuff of sci-fi anymore. They know how it was made because they've made a simple version for themselves. And once you've trained it to recognize 3 or 4 commands, the fact that the real thing can understand thousands of commands is just a difference of scale. The principle's the same, and now it's a principle that they can start to relate to. This works even better when it's a real-world example of AI that they didn't even notice before. Getting a class to train their own recommendations engine to make personalized recommendations, that gets them to see how common an AI application this is. It gets them talking about what they think happens when they click thumbs up on a video they like, or thumbs down on a video they don't. How those actions are being used to train a machine learning model that they'd never even noticed before. I've got classes to train a machine learning model to recognize their handwriting. Now it's a chance to talk about handwriting recognition and optical character recognition. But when we use that to make a postman Pat game that can recognize zip codes they write on an envelope and use that to automatically sort virtual envelopes, well, suddenly it's not an abstract technical topic anymore. It's something a bit more real. It's a chance to talk about how AI is used to automate the sorting and processing of mail at huge scales. After a few projects like these, the kids' eyes start to open to how AI is all around them. We all interact with AI systems every day, often without realizing. Suddenly, AI isn't sci-fi and isn't future to them. It's here, it's now, it's today. And they start spotting AI applications all around them that they'd never even noticed before. And this gives them a different insight into how the world around them works. Understanding today is vital. It's interesting to understand where we've come from too. Artificial intelligence has been incrementally evolving and improving for decades. Showing kids early AI systems is a fun way to give them that context. Like Audrey, the first speech recognition system built in 1952, or Shoebox, the first voice-controlled calculator in 1962. If you've got time, recreating some of these historical projects is really effective. Menace was a system designed by AI researcher Donald Mitchie in 1961 that could play noughts and crosses or tic-tac-toe. Its machine learning model was implemented as a collection of hundreds of small matchboxes. He trained it by putting small coloured beads in the matchboxes, and the distribution of those beads was essentially the state of the system. Now, it wasn't an electronic computer, but it was absolutely a machine learning system. Now, it's possible, although a bit fiddly, to do this as an unplugged activity today. Now, alternately, Kids can recreate this easily in Scratch and train their own machine learning model to play noughts and crosses, and to play it well. Either way, recreating an AI research project from nearly 60 years ago is a fun way for them to learn about where AI has come from. Sometimes the most accessible way to teach kids about AI is to not make the lesson about AI. Kids can easily make chatbots that they train to understand and answer questions about a topic. Now, I've worked with dozens of classes where students each made their own chatbots for geography lessons or history lessons or English lessons on whatever topic they were currently learning about. I've seen students make a chatbot Viking that you could ask questions about their boats or what they ate or what their clothes were made out of. I've seen chatbot Romans. I've seen a chatbot William Shakespeare that you could ask about his life and his plays. I've seen chatbot dinosaurs and chatbot elephants. The focus of the projects were the topics and the research that the students had to put into them. We hardly mentioned AI. But instead of making a poster or giving a presentation or writing a report, the way they got to present the research that they'd done was through training a chatbot. Now that meant they had to think about interesting questions people might ask about the topic, and they had to think of a variety of ways of asking those questions, and they had to do the research to find out the answers that the bot should give in response. So this wasn't AI for the sake of AI, rather it was a different way for them to present information in an interactive way. And this really helped to engage the whole class, not just the ones who are typically more into computers. Some of them really enjoyed preparing funny answers that their bot could give. Some enjoyed designing how their chatbot's avatars should look or animating the way that they moved. Some just liked being able to give a presentation where they could get a bot to do all the talking for them. The AI side was almost incidental. The focus was on the information that they gathered, with the AI just as a way of using and presenting information. And that's a great perspective to have about AI. Another example was with a class I was working with who'd been doing a series of lessons on media literacy. Now, they'd been learning about how different media outlets cover the same stories in different ways. So for their last lesson, we tried an experiment to see what a machine could learn. We collected examples of front-page headlines from different national newspapers, and we used that to train a machine learning model that could recognize the use of language in headlines from different papers. And then we tested it with new headlines that we hadn't shown the system before and got it to predict which newspaper each headline was from. And it worked amazingly well. The chance for the class to talk and speculate about the patterns that they thought the computer was using to make its predictions, like the number of words in a headline, or the use of capital letters, or the use of emotive language, and so on. That was a great way for them to consolidate what they'd been learning themselves over the previous lessons. I've enjoyed lessons where the students have a chance to experiment with machine learning technologies. AI tools are simpler to use than ever, and if you present them as sandboxes for kids to experiment and explore in, they'll stumble upon many lessons for themselves. For example, I've done lots of projects with classes based on games, training an AI to be able to play a game like Pac-Man. So they'll set up their project so the machine learning model gets trained by the way they play the game. And then they'll play a couple of games and let their machine learning model have a go. And at first it'll be terrible. It'll run into a ghost really quickly. So they play a few more games, collect a few more training examples, and then they try again. And they see their machine learning model doing a little better, avoiding the ghosts for a little longer. Then they'll play a bunch more games, collect loads more training data, and then try again. And now they get to see their machine learning model do an amazing job at avoiding the ghost for ages. That correlation, the correlation between the amount of training data you collect and the accuracy of the machine learning model, that's something the students discover and can reason about for themselves. They pick up all sorts of lessons about the behavior of machine learning systems for themselves through their first-hand experiences, and that's so much more effective than when I just tell them about it. Often, the most effective lessons are where projects go a bit wrong at first. For example, I often help students to make games using the webcam, like rock, paper, scissors, where they train a machine learning model to recognize the shape that their hand makes in the webcam. Now, there's almost always at least one student who rushes through collecting the training data, going for quantity. Now, either because they're enthusiastic or they've learned that using more training data is often better. So they keep their hand still in front of the webcam and they quickly take dozens of almost identical pictures of each hand shape. And they find that their machine learning model tends to be very, very poor at recognizing hand shapes during a rock, paper, scissors game. Now, the contrast is there's almost always at least one student who does it a bit differently, who takes a variety of photos. Photos of their hands in different positions, photos of their hands at different angles, some photos of their left hand, some photos of their right hand, some photos of their hand looking very big, close to the webcam, some photos of their hand looking really small, further away from the webcam. And they find that their machine learning model tends to be fantastic during the game. It's really reliable at recognizing their hand shapes. Now, with a little time to test, a bit of time to compare and to reflect, what the students stumble onto is the importance of variation in training data for machine learning systems. I'll give another example. A couple of years ago, I ran that lesson with a class, and one of my students collected a decent set of training examples for rock and scissors hand shapes. But when he was taking photos of his hands for his paper examples, it so happened that one of his friends in the class had come over to sit next to him and watch what he was doing. Now, because of the way the webcam was angled, his friend ended up in each of those photos. And what he didn't realize at the time was he was training the machine learning model to recognize that a picture of a hand meant rock or scissors, depending on the shape, and a picture of a hand and a person meant paper. Now, he didn't notice until he was trying out his game, but every time his teacher or I would go and stand next to him to see how he was getting on, his machine learning model would think he was making a paper symbol. Now, that was a complete fluke, and it hasn't happened again since, but that was a fantastic lesson, because what he stumbled onto by chance and shared with the rest of the class was a vital lesson about machine learning, that machine learning systems learn from patterns in the training examples we give them, but those patterns might not be the patterns that we'd noticed or even intended. If the class don't happen to stumble onto that sort of mistake, sometimes it helps to just get them to train a model badly, so they can see how AI systems can go wrong. For example, get them to train a machine learning model to recognize pictures of apples and tomatoes, but make sure their training set of apple photos are all of green apples, and their tomato training photos are all of red tomatoes. And then get them to see what happens when you ask the computer to recognize a photo of a red apple or a green tomato. More often than not, the computer will get that wrong. By training it with only pictures of red apples, you create a bias system, a system that has learned to expect that red fruit are always apples. As well as helping them to understand a bit about how the world around them works, these sorts of projects help give students the AI literacy needed to help them interpret and think about the sorts of media coverage we see about AI. For example, when they're testing their projects, they'll often want to make it do better. So when it gets something wrong, they instinctively go back and add the thing it got wrong to their training data, so it will do better at that the next time. That's a very common pattern in real-world AI projects. Companies collect examples of the things that their machine learning systems get wrong, and they get humans to review it and add it to the training data so that their products make fewer mistakes like that in the future. Now, that context helps enable an informed discussion in the classroom about news stories such as recordings from Amazon Alexa devices being listened to by Amazon staff to update their training data. Now, students will still be divided about whether or not they think that's right or appropriate, but at least they'll have the context to understand why this sort of thing happens. A couple of years ago, there was a lot of media coverage about Norman, the so-called psychopathic AI, which was described as being disturbed by being made to watch a lot of scary movies, and they demonstrated that by getting it to identify what it recognized in ink blot paintings. I've worked with students to recreate this research project in the classroom, albeit without the scary movie angle, training different machine learning models to be obsessed about different topics, and then seeing how that affects the answers that their machine learning systems give to a Rorschach ink blot test. By recreating that project and experimenting with it for themselves, I've seen students able to have a far more nuanced and informed discussion about what this sort of experiment tells us about AI than I saw from a lot of media at the time. The discussions that students have about projects are often as important as the projects themselves. For example, you can start by getting students to make a recommendation app, like something that recommends attractions that someone on holiday should visit based on their interest. Now, once they get that working, get them to intentionally bias their machine learning model towards one particular holiday attraction. Just by giving it a lot more training examples for that one attraction than for all the others, they can start to influence their model so that it starts to prefer that option, so that it recommends it more often than it does the others. Now, doing that gives you a chance to talk about training bias and ethics in AI. Now, it's often a surprise to students who start out assuming that the answers a machine learning system gives are purely a factor of how good the algorithms are or how good the code is. The person who trains a machine learning system, the training examples they choose to use, that has a much bigger impact on the answers that an AI system gives. And discovering that is often a penny-dropping moment for many students. After they see for themselves the impact that they can have on their tourist info app and the way that they can skew the recommendations that it gives, you can talk to them about whether or not they think that's fair. You can talk to them about the responsibilities that they think people who train machine learning systems should have. You can ask them whether it would change their opinions if the app was making recommendations to doctors about medicines that they should use rather than to holidaymakers about places to visit. You can use their first-hand experiences at intentionally creating a biased AI system and use the insight they gain, even from just discovering that that's possible, to enable a classroom discussion about ethics in AI. There are lots of other projects you can do to enable similar sorts of discussions. Survival of the best fit is a great simulation they can use. It's about the use of AI in recruitment, and it enables discussions about the implications of AI automation in major financial decisions about our lives. I think these are really important discussions to have. My objective is never to teach all the students about how to create AI because I think they all need to know how to create AI. Now, it's great if some of them enjoy it and get into it, because we do need to prepare the next generation of AI and machine learning developers. But we also need to prepare the next generation of managers and directors who are going to decide how to use and apply AI technologies. We need to prepare the next generation of policymakers and legislators who are going to help ensure that AI tech is used appropriately and fairly. We need to prepare our society to be able to engage in an informed debate about how AI should be used, as we enter an age where increasingly AI systems are going to be responsible for more and more critical activities like driving the cars and trucks on our roads or helping to diagnose and treat our illnesses. So let me sum up. I found that the best way to learn about AI is by making AI projects. The first-hand experiences that students get from building with this tech is so much more effective than just telling them about it. I found that helping them to recreate simple examples of real-world AI applications helps to open their eyes to how AI is all around us. It helps to give them new insight into how the world around them works. I believe that it's useful to dispel the myth that AI is just about futuristic sci-fi robots, by giving them some of the decades of history that have got us to where we are today. I've had some of my most effective lessons reaching the most students by not doing AI lessons for the sake of AI lessons, but rather integrating it with whatever topic the class is already studying, so they're introduced to AI more subtly as another way to work with information. I've loved watching students experiment for themselves with AI tech and stumble onto all sorts of lessons and insights, often with only minimal prompting and sometimes without me even trying at all. I think it's important to let students see AI projects make mistakes, so they can understand that this tech is never perfect. Making their own flawed machine learning models, whether intentionally or not, is a great way to understand the limitations of the technology. I've enjoyed the chance that these projects have given me to engage in debates with students about how AI is used to help them to think critically about the sorts of stories we see in the media. And throughout all of this, I'm continually reminded that there are important lessons for all the students in our classes about AI, not just the ones who are really into coding, but ethical and societal questions for all of them, because we're all affected by this tech and how it's used. Finally, I'd like to finish with links to the resources that I've been referring to in this talk. Thank you very much for listening.
I hope you enjoyed that content area expert, Dale, and I hope you were able to take down some notes from his presentation. If you weren't, we do have that recording on the on-demand version of this course. So you can access that there if you want to go back and watch that video again on your own time. So for this next segment, we are going to be looking at this machine learning website for kids. Dale was using that a lot. Most of those activities he was showing you, training the apples, the tomatoes, the different newspapers, on and off for the fan or the light. All of those are available for free in this machine learning website. I'm going to walk you through how to do this activity. It's a little bit complicated, but I'm going to walk you through it and model that for you. And then I do have slides that show that. And we also have a recording to refresh your memory. So once we do put you into a breakout room to get started on this activity, you can watch that recording if you still need any help. So just pay attention while I model how we're going to access this activity for you to get started. If you're participating on Zoom, the link will be posted in the chat. It's already there for you. And if you're participating on Teachable, I'm going to show you how to access this link, and it'll be the same for you on Zoom, but your link is just in the chat here. So I'm going to model how you are going to do this activity. The purpose of this activity is for you to experience getting started in an activity, getting used with this platform. You won't have time to finish it though. So right here, we're going to go to the machine learning for kids. It's link number 4. So if you're in Teachable, this is where you're going to go. And then once we get into breakout rooms, or if you're doing this independently, if you need a refresher, right next to that, it says screen recording. You can click on that and then it'll show you how to go through and access this information as well. So I'm going to click on the machine learning for kids. And once you get here, we're going to do try without registering. So you don't need to sign up. I've signed up for an account, but it logged me out. But you're going to do try it now without registering, just to save on time. And once you get here, you are going to click on add a new project. Oh, excuse me. You're going to click on the top worksheet. So you click on this machine learning for kids, and then you will do try it for free like I showed you, and then you'll go to the worksheets at the top. And when you go to the worksheets at the top, it'll populate this page that you see here. We are going to look at the Make Me Happy project. And I'm going to click on download this project. I'm going to download it. And you're going to see when you click on download that there are a few different versions. It says for teachers, that's great for you to look at. We're not going to look at that today. And then it has the for students. There's 3 different versions for students. This is used in Scratch, but then you can also start to use this with Python coding with students, just depending on your grade level and depending on your students' background in coding, to determine what would be best for them. For us, we are going to look at the shorter version, because we're going to do a shorter version of this, which is the second one on the for students. So we're going to click download project worksheet. This project worksheet is where your directions are. So once that's downloaded, it's here at the bottom in this PDF file. So I'm going to pull up that PDF. And what you're looking for is page 2 in this PDF. So I have my PDF opened, and I'll scroll down to page 2, because page 2, the first link, takes you to another web browser, and you're going to want to open this in a new tab. So I'm going to click open in a new tab. So now I have the PDF here. I'm going to exit out of these that I had opened. So I have the PDF open in one tab, and now I've downloaded this other link, right clicked it, open in a new tab. And you can see it's to teach a computer to play a game. We're going to collect these examples. You can read through these instructions, and we're going to go to go to project. So once you get here and you go to the project, you're going to add a new project, and this project name is Make Me Happy. So you'll just type that in, Make Me Happy, and you are recognizing text. So you're going to be recognizing text in this project, and you can select a different language down here. I'm going to keep it on English, and then you'll select create. Once you do this, you are going to train you're going to train your system. And how you train your system, you click on train, and you're going to add a new label, which might be happy. And you add that. So you'll give some text examples of happy. So you're going to want to think of things that make people feel happy, like, wow, you're doing an awesome job. What a great idea. Those different kinds of text. And then you'll look at another one that might, be sad. And so you'll think of some negative things that you would say to somebody that might make them sad. So this is how you're going to train your AI. And all the directions for this activity are here. So once you have this open, you follow these directions with your group in your breakout room, or if you're doing it independently, you'll do it independently. So I've walked through a few of these with you just now, but once you are in that group, You'll download this PDF, click on that first link, and then follow these instructions to train your artificial intelligence and begin to code in Scratch. You won't have time to finish this, but it's more important that you just figure out how to use this application, kind of get comfortable with using these machine learning projects. So that way you can come back to these and do them with your students. I really like how he talks about, letting students do this without explicitly telling them it might be artificial intelligence, tying it to the content, the curriculum content. They will learn so much, and they're going to have questions. They're going to start to see inequities. They're going to start to see, what if this happens? What if that? They're going to start to see those biases on their own. And that is so much more powerful for our brains when we learn that way and we discover these things on our own in our own time. That's what authentic learning is all about. So again, once you get to that machine learning link, you will go to worksheets at the top, and you're going to click on Make Me Happy. Once you do that, you'll download the shorter version of the project under Students. And you will go to page 2 in that PDF to be taken to that link that I showed you, the first link. And the directions for this activity are in this PDF as well. You will get started. I showed you how to get started and to train your, to enter that training data. And don't forget, whenever you get there, you're going to try it now. You don't need to register now, but later you can register for this if you'd like. So you will have 2 things open. You'll have the Make Me Happy PDF with the instructions, and then you'll have your machine learning tab open when you get started on this activity. Those will be the 2 things you'll need open for this activity. Before we head into breakout rooms, if you're in Teachable, you'll be doing this independently. But if you are on Zoom, we're going to put you in a breakout room, and I'm going to show you this quick video on pair programming. This is great to do with your students. It's great to have them working with other students when they're doing things like this. The conversation is rich. The ideas are rich. They have questions, and that harnesses a lot of those soft skills we've talked about. So we'll watch this really quick video on paired programming before we get started on that activity.
Today, we're going to learn about pair programming. In pair programming, you work as a team.
Why should 2 people use one computer?
Why should 2 people use one computer? Because 2 heads are better than 1. We work together in an interesting kind of way.
Because we're interesting people.
We are interesting people.
In pair programming, you and your partner are going to sit down together at one computer, and you are both going to work on the same project.
Right now, we're working on code monsters. Oh no, a fire monster. We don't have enough time. I'm sorry. We'll get to it later. In pair programming, one person is the driver and the other person is the navigator.
Just like driving a car. Your choice, driver or navigator?
Driver. The driver sits at the computer and is the one using the keyboard, mouse, or touchscreen and controlling the main actions of the computer. I'm setting all the arrows so that they make the character move in the direction he's trying to move.
And the other person is the navigator. The navigator helps the driver by answering the driver's questions and pointing out potential problems or mistakes. Go left, and instead of righty-tighty, go right. Communication is key to a successful pair programming.
No insults. Be respectful. Don't be a bossy navigator, because nobody likes a backseat driver.
Here, why can't you do this?
Wait. Hey, stop that. Give it back.
Wait,
that's not nice. Give it back.
Just one thing.
Communication is key to successful pair programming. Did the cat say something after?
You and your partner should always be talking.
Okay, so there's the cat. The driver can explain what she or he is doing. Do you think it would ruin it to type something extra? And the navigator can help suggest what to do next.
Can you write a program that makes the dog move to the target? The navigator should be thinking about the big picture.
And the driver focuses on the details. Both roles are important.
Want to switch?
Okay.
I'm the driver now. Be sure to switch roles often.
Okay. Wait a second, why isn't this working?
You need to attach it up there. Look, there's a hole.
Did you see how my partner helped me figure out the puzzle on fewer tries? She caught my mistake.
Yay, good job!
Pair programming is all about working together
As a team.
So that resource comes from code.org, and we've shown that video. I'm an elementary school teacher. I've shown that to elementary school students. I have a colleague that was a high school teacher. She's shown this to high school students. And, of course, she says they were kind of like, oh, this is just a little kid video, but they get the idea of what paired programming is. So when we move into this activity over Zoom, we are going to be doing this in a breakout room, but we're going to be doing this in a paired programming style, where one person will be the driver, and the driver is going to share their screen. So if you are going to be the driver, once you get into that breakout room, discuss who wants to be the driver, and everybody else can be the navigator. So the driver will share their screen. You click on that share icon that you can see here. It's highlighted in green. So you click on that, select your window that you're going to share, and you'll share your screen with your peers. And then everybody else will be the navigator and help the whole team kind of navigate through this project over the next 15 minutes. I do want to show you just one more time on Teachable. Here's the screen recording. So if we need that screen recording, I am actually just going to copy and paste this screen recording into the Zoom chat right now. For those of you that need it, once you get into the breakout rooms, if you need the screen recording, you can go ahead and open this up before you get to the breakout room, because once you get into the breakout room, you lose access to the chat. So if you think you need that screen recording to help you remember how to get started, go ahead and click on that screen recording to open it. The machine learning link is in the Zoom chat for those of you participating on Zoom. And we're going to spend the next 15 minutes getting familiar with this machine learning website for kids through the Make Me Happy project. So we're going to move into breakout rooms, and then I'll see you back here in 15 minutes. Okay, go ahead and join us back on this Zoom screen or join us on that YouTube live stream if you are viewing this on Teachable. We're gonna head back into our breakout rooms. I believe just this will be the last time, but I want you to think about what employability skills did you have to use to accomplish this task? So earlier we talked about some of those soft skills. We looked at 8 of the most common soft and behavioral skills. So let's take the next 2 minutes in breakout rooms and discuss what skills did you just use in this activity to accomplish this task? And I'll see you back here in 2 minutes. Go ahead and join us back on this Zoom video or on the Teachable live video if you're on Teachable. Just a few things before we wrap up here. IBM Watson Candidate Assistant is a great way for you to use this tool with your students. You could use it for yourself, but this is an application that you can ask Watson what careers involve artificial intelligence. And this can prompt a lot of discussion with your students. There might be some things that involve artificial intelligence that we don't think of. Such, fields in the justice system and in medicine and other areas that we may not think of. If you're on Teachable, this link for the IBM Watson Candidate Assistant is link number 2. So you guys have that there to look at on your own time. You can also upload resumes. You can have your students upload resumes, and this link will tell you what jobs you might be a good match for. So this is a really cool, interesting way to investigate artificial intelligence, look at different fields where artificial intelligence is being used. And this is a really good tool that you can use for yourself and for others. There's one more resource that I wanted to share with you. And this is it's called OpenPTech, which is another resource by IBM. And OpenPTech is free. You can create an account. Your students can create an account. It's made for students in grades 9 through 14. And they earn badges for doing different topics like cybersecurity, blockchain, data science, artificial intelligence. And they can use these badges on their resumes when they're trying to get a job. If you're a teacher, you can also go through these just so you can learn more about any one of these areas in computer science. We know that without computer science, we wouldn't have artificial intelligence. Computer science lays that foundational knowledge in algorithms and coding that creates our technology and our artificial intelligence we have here today. So this is another great resource for you. It is in the chat, and it is also on the Teachable website, and it's link number 7 there. So before we wrap this up, we're going to spend, I know our timer here says 5 minutes, but we're going to spend about 4 minutes in a breakout room looking at the classroom application section of that graphic organizer. So I pick at least one thing on that graphic organizer in this next 4 minutes and think about how can you use this in your classroom and what modifications would you need to make for this activity to work in your classroom. So let's head into a breakout room. We're just going to stay in there for 4 minutes and look at the classroom application section. And I'll see you back here in 4 minutes. All right, go ahead and join us back on this Zoom screen, or if you're participating on Teachable, join us back on that live streaming video. I'm going to summarize our toolkit, show you how to access that. The toolkit is organized in these 5 inquiries of inquiry-based learning. So engage, explore, explain, elaborate, and evaluate. So all of our activities are organized in these 5 E's. There is a table of contents to help you navigate the toolkit. And you also can click on any of the blue text in the toolkit to directly take you to that resource or activity so you can replicate or modify this activity with your students or stakeholders. You can always return to the table of contents by clicking at the bottom right-hand corner of the table of contents page. We do have these 9 online institutes available for you. Some of them are available on demand, and we will be doing more live courses over the next few months as well. So check those out. We do have some great courses. I see a lot of familiar names here, so I know some of you have been to our other courses as well. So just to show you where the toolkit is and how to verify your attendance to download your certificate, I'm going to hop over to the Teachable website. Here on the Teachable website, under the video at the top, and then you have all of your toolkit resources under that video. You're going to scroll down till you see this box with this toolkit image in it. Below that box, it says open the toolkit in a new tab. If you click on that, you can bookmark this. I highly recommend you bookmark this because you have access to all 9 of our online institutes and resources and how we're using this information in this toolkit for you to use. So bookmark that. You can't download it, but you can bookmark it. And I highly recommend that. So that's how you access that big toolkit and how you can save that for yourself. Right under the toolkit there, you can verify your attendance. It says after institute, claim your certificate. Click here to verify your attendance. Once you verify your attendance, you have to go to the top. In this yellow, it says complete and continue. Verify attendance, go to the top right corner, click complete and continue. Once you do that, you'll be redirected to a really short survey. Fill the survey out and then click complete and continue one more time, and then you'll be able to download your certificate. I will stick around for a couple of minutes if anybody has any questions, so I can help you with that just for a couple of minutes here after our webinar finishes. I really appreciate you guys joining today. Thank you so much. Let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to seeing you at some of our other learning experiences.
So how do the people on Zoom do it? Jackie?
I'll paste the Teachable link in here. So you accessed Zoom, you accessed this Zoom webinar on Teachable. You might not have that tab still opened, but I'm gonna paste the Teachable link is already pasted in the chat. So if you go to the chat, click on that Teachable link, and you might have to copy and paste it. There it is. So I just clicked on that myself. So click on the chat or the link in the chat and then scroll down to the bottom.
Oh, okay.
And I'll still stick around for a few minutes in case anybody has any issues.
Got you. It still tells me to unlock the course. I don't know why.
I wonder if you need to, when you've already enrolled in it, maybe you're not logged in.
I don't know. It's still saying me I'm not enrolled.
I just pasted another link.
Okay, let me log in. I think I wasn't there. Let me log up in. Oh.
I did just post another link in the chat. That link might work better. I think the first link might have taken you to the page where you can pick from all of the courses. So maybe try that second link out and see if that works.
Okay, I think I'm there.
Okay.
Just like after this, yeah, verify your attendance. So let me just do it here. Do I hit continue after that? Yep, yes.
Yes.
Okay, and then I'm there.
And then you should see the survey. And then once you finish that, you do complete and continue one more time, and you'll be able to download your certificate.
It didn't come to the survey, it went directly to the certificate, I guess.
So, Anjana, did you have to log in again?
Yeah, I had to.
Okay, so maybe that's what the issue is for me as well.
I don't know. It's just, let me start again because it took me back to the Zoom link. Hmm. I don't know. It's just starting up too many windows for me. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I can stop sharing my screen. Well, I don't think you'll be able to share your screen with me, but did you get to download your certificate?
It's just showing loading. It's not yet there.
Okay. And
It's just showing a blank page.
did it finish loading, perhaps?
Nope. Oh yeah, here it comes. A survey popped up, yeah.
There you go. And so then after you do that, you will do complete and continue one more time. And then your certificate will download. The Zoom videos, and Zoom takes up a lot of your internet bandwidth as well. So if you log out of Zoom, maybe it'll download a little faster for you if that's an issue.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so let's see.
I don't know, it's just not letting me at this time.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
I just submitted it and then probably trying to go to the next page.
so
It said on my email I got some certificate issued, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
so oh,
Go ahead.
okay, so I think so I'm looking at this and it tells me, it says I must have did something kooky. Well, it's telling me that I'm 33% complete.
Are you okay?
And I did it over Zoom.
You did it over Zoom. Did you,
Yes.
down there at the bottom it does, did you click on the link I put in the chat?
I did, but I had to log. Okay, so let me do it
And Helene, you just have to make sure that you're clicking complete and continue at the top right corner of the screen too.
Well, okay, so when I tried to go, it didn't take me to where I needed to go because I think I had logged out. I'd closed my browser, that browser. So I just reopened the browser and went back using the link that was in my email. So I'm not sure if that's, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the chat again and I'm going to start from there.
Okay.
And see what that does. Okay. So it tells me the same thing. So yeah, and where it says complete and continue, it's not highlighted. So I did something wrong. I missed something somewhere along the line.
I'm trying to think, but you are logged into Teachable? Because I wonder if the
yes, because
okay.
what I did was at some point along the way, I closed out of this browser.
Mhm.
And so I was using Zoom and then following the links as you posted them.
That still should be okay. I'm wondering, Davis had posted a link and then I posted a link from Jackie in that chat. Do you know which one of those you?
So I thought I clicked on yours, but I'll try it again.
The one that says lectures and then it has like 12:06. It ends in 900 at the bottom.
Yes, I could see your, I could see your name. It says from Jackie to everyone, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And then above it, it says from Davis to everyone.
It's only saying 33% down there at your attendance.
Yes.
Okay. I will reach out to my colleague and I might suggest just trying to log out of Teachable and logging back into this course. It should let you do it even if you close out of the Teachable and you're viewing it just on Zoom. But I'll reach out to her, and then could you just put your email in the chat really fast so I can copy and paste that, and we can check that and reach out to you and check up and see if you were able to get it, and if not, maybe we can help you figure out what's going on.
Okay.
Helene, is that your name?
Yes, delpesh@udel.edu.
Okay. So I got that email address and I will troubleshoot this just because I've seen that before on my end, but that's when I wasn't enrolled in the course and it was a different thing going on. But I will reach out and ask her what's going on. I would just recommend logging out, log back into this course, see if you can do it then.
Okay.
And then I'm going to also put my email address in here. If you get it, if you get your certificate, if you could just send me an email and let me know. But I'm also reaching out to my colleague so she can help troubleshoot this issue. And we can reach out to you with some more information tomorrow.
Okay. Let me copy this. Okay. All right. So yes, I will do that. And hopefully we'll get it. Now, I have a question for you. Will all of the links that